missed opportunities. Great.
No, my
So I'm so happy to have you with me, Manjari, and congratulations on Superboys. It
thank you.
was a lovely and very cute and funny role. So tell me about Superboys, and then tell me a little about yourself as well.
So first, should I tell about myself, and for
Yes,
after that,
yes,
how do you want to go
yes.
about it?
No, I want you to tell me a little about yourself, Manjari.
Well, I started off as any other kid born and brought up in Mumbai who wanted to become an engineer because I was good with my studies. And one
Right.
fine day, watched a play on in my college, and I fell in love with it. And I was actually
Which college
studying
was
for
this? Which
this was
college?
Rupert.
Okay. Rupert, and you were
Yeah.
studying engineering?
Yeah, no, I was studying like in science. I was prepping for IIT, JEE, AI, Triple E, and all
Oh,
those
right.
entrance exams.
Right.
And yeah, so I watched that play and I fell in love with it.
Which
Now
play was it?
it was a play written by Vijay Tendulkar, and
Oh, okay. Which one?
Vijay Tendulkar wrote a lot of one-act plays.
Right.
And it was since it was like really lot of years ago. I'm not very sure of the name, but I remember the visuals very vividly. There was an actress called Veena Zamkar who's still
Uh-huh.
acts in Marathi industry. So she was doing the lead. And if I'm not wrong, the name of the play was Savlya. Savlya is
Okay.
Shadows.
Right.
So that was the play.
Right. And that sort of blew you away.
Yeah, yeah. And I come from a family where my father used to love a theater to an extent that he would go and take about 30, 40 people together to watch
Oh,
a play because he
wow.
believed in the power of kind of revolution and the power of change through this one medium. So I always saw it, and I grew up in that environment, but I never thought I would take it as a career.
What did your
But I
dad
was
do?
into
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, but yeah.
no, please do, please do. My father was an art director at Films Division.
Oh, how nice. So you sort of grew up with
Yeah.
the movies and theater all around you.
Yes, yes, it was a very rich, culturally very, very rich childhood for me. And
Right.
in my childhood, my father used to give us like 5, 10 rupees as prizes to the questions, and the questions were, okay, you have to. While watching the films was never watching the films for us for entertainment. It was always like this whole game that he created. Like a scene would be going on, some song, some heroine is dancing, and he would be like, okay, quickly, who will tell me it's a set or like indoor and outdoor shoot? Is it,
Oh, acha.
and then we would look at the sand, and then we would think it's like outdoors, but he's like, no, but look at the moon and you can clearly tell it's a set.
Right.
And all those conversations just
Wow.
made our viewing of the cinema very academic in the sense more than the entertainment.
And there was you and there were other siblings as
My
well?
sister,
Or?
my elder sister,
Okay.
and me. So
What does she do?
she works as a high performance coach in a
Oh,
mental health space. Yeah. Yeah. She's a
wow.
leadership coach. Yeah.
Okay, great. In Mumbai?
In Mumbai, yes, in Mumbai.
Okay. So, I mean, both of you have done something very unusual.
Yeah, yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I think. And your mom was also culturally inclined, or
Uh
she was very
my
much part of
mom
this? Or
My mom was very much part of this, although she doesn't come from this background of vehemently looking at and analyzing the films and just tearing the things apart, whichever you're exposed to, be it literature or not. But she was a daughter of a sound recordist. Uh,
excellent.
yeah, so my grandfather used to work as a sound recordist, and I mean, surprisingly, that was yet another
Connection, yeah.
perspective, connection, and kind of an awareness because she comes from a background of a completely different
Right,
department, right? So she had seen all the ups and downs of being in the film
right.
industry and not exposed to the glamour part of it at all, and the kind of hard work it takes to all the departments to make something happen. And also, in terms of ups and downs, she also kind of experienced to a certain extent the financial
Yeah,
pressures that they had to go through of the whole idea of freelancing that film industry comes in with.
right.
So she was very much aware, and which is why, I mean, both my parents never really intended or wanted me to take this up as a career.
Naturally. Yeah. So,
Because
what was her father's name?
my mother's father,
Yeah, your grandfather's name?
Jayant Varadikar. Jayant
Varadi.
Varadikar. Yes.
So, was it in the Marathi film industry or Hindi film
Hindi,
industry as well?
Hindi film industry.
Okay,
He's worked on
great.
some of B.R. Chopra projects also, I think.
Oh,
She
wow,
kind of,
wonderful.
yeah, so she kind of, talks about those days and how, like, every time a project would like wrap, he would bring this particular mithai from this
Acha,
Dadar
acha.
they used to live in. So she would talk about those jalebis that would come, and that was her correlation with like a schedule wrap. So now
Oh,
every time it's jalebi with kaju katli, and she loves
acha.
this combination. So every time I finish a project, I make sure that I bring that for her because she should
Wow,
know that that's a schedule wrap.
nice. Very nice. So, in a way, you have this in your blood. I mean,
In a strange way,
yeah.
where the blood never wanted me to become an actor.
So, so what made you sort of what convinced you that this was the only thing you wanted to do?
Well, I when I wanted to become like an aeronautical engineer, like how people say rocket scientist, I really wanted to become one because I was really impressed by Kalpana
Ah,
Chawla
right.
and journey. And she died
Yeah.
accident. And after that, as a child, I always looked at this whole thing that main hi hu next Kalpana Chawla. I am going to be that next person. And I was really, really excited to pick this up for the adventure of it, for the grandeur of it, for the kind of glamour that aerospace engineering got after Kalpana Chawla. And when I was a child, I in the school there was this fun competition, and it was on Wright brother them,
Right.
invent the planes. And I happened to be part of that competition, and I happened to win the competition. And there were several layers, like there were like written exam, then interviews, then like a rapid fire test and stuff like that. So I cleared all of them because I was obsessed with this whole aeronautic space.
Oh,
And
right.
prize after that was very, very interesting. The prize was you get a ride in a two-seater glider with
Oh,
India's youngest pilot. Her name was
wow.
Neetu. And for a child, it's like I mean, it's the most glamorous candy you can offer.
How old were you
So
then?
I was in
Okay.
ninth or eighth. I think.
Right.
So I got that. And I felt it was the most exciting thing for me at that moment of time. And I never knew that I will win that competition. And I did. And Neetu Gupta actually gave me the ride. And I flew over in the first time in the plane. I flew over Juhu Pavan Hans. And
Wow.
then we went to the beach. And because it was a glider, she could have it like, really at the lower level, and I could experience something out of the body kind of experience because she was
Right.
playing with it. She was turning the glider my side, and I was like completely elevated with that whole feeling. So for me, that was my one of the very in order to say, for me, it was a very profound experience, and my idea of adventure and thrill got defined by that one experience. And then came in somehow theater. I
Yeah.
went to a college because, I was very good with the studies. So I went to Ruparel, which is like one of the highest colleges for
Right.
science students, but it's also really the highest one for arts. And I went there and I watched a play, and I had watched so many plays since my childhood, thanks to my father. But that one play shifted something, and I wanted to, my father had this habit, like after finishing a play, he wanted us to go and meet the actors
Okay.
in real. So he wanted to create this demarcation of actors and
Right.
characters so that they don't remain characters in our brain. So he took us, and similarly with the habit, I went to, meet this co-actor, like that actor, Veena Zamkar, and I stepped on the stage, and I felt the same amount of adventure and the thrill that I felt when I was in that plane, for example. And it just, blew my mind. I said, what just happened? Like, this is, I am on standing on the ground, but I feel the same elevation, the same butterflies, because the play was just over, and I'm on the stage, and the audience was like, just dispersing. But something happened in my gut, and I fell in love. It was literally a love at first sight. And after that, I mean, it was such a love at first sight that I fell for it, like tumbled over it. And I decided that I want to change my life choices after that.
So that's then what did you decide to do? By the way, that's Penelope Cruz, right? Vicky Cristina
Yeah,
Barcelona. Yeah.
yes, 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 yes.
So she's a big idol, obviously, if you have her photograph there.
Well, I just find it damn sexy, and we wanted something really cool. So that's about it. And
Yeah,
not an
it's
idea,
really lovely.
but I absolutely love Penelope and her work.
Yeah. And you
Absolutely
have a
love.
lot of stuffed toys as well.
Yeah,
So that's the little girl in you, I think.
it is indeed. It is indeed. They keep me alive.
So so then do they have names, by the way, all of them?
Oh, they do. Oh my God. Are you a toy person too? Because,
No, no, but I know that most people have names if they have stuffed toys, they love to have names.
yeah,
So they all have names.
they do. They do really. I'll show
Wow,
you my favorite
great.
one. I have to show you my favorite
Please
one now
do.
that we're talking
Please do.
about
Oh,
it. Didn't see him.
what's
His
his
name
name?
his name is Monsty because he's a mon
Too cute.
and he's pretty much
Wow.
in my head every time I look at like any kind of a script or anything of that sort. Because it's like a monster tearing everything apart, but it's like a cute monster who's a curious monster. So
Very
yeah,
cute.
my guy. And look at his feet.
So, damn cool. So you collect them from everywhere, or how do you do it? Or
Everywhere, anywhere that I go, I just love collecting these small little toys to just, keep that child inside me alive, and keep it like bouncing in there. So yeah.
so then you continued in Ruparel, and or did you go to drama school or film school? What did you do?
I I went to St. Xavier's College because I
Oh,
was supposed to
nice,
choose engineering, and that
nice,
opposed to, if I were to go to like straight to drama school, my parents would have like really, really abandoned me.
nice.
But I went to St. Xavier's College, and I did master's, no, bachelor's in mass media.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's a
because
great place to also be in theater, right? It
exactly
has
my
such a
passion,
rich theater tradition.
such a rich tradition, be it Hindi, English theater. And
Yeah,
when
and
I went
such
there,
great alumni you have.
yeah, yeah, what a great space to be in,
Yeah.
where there is a culture of encouraging the individual voice of an artist. So that really helped me. And also I was introduced to so many artists, so many photographers, painters, singers in the same building, like, and it has its own history to it. Alumni is one part, but when you are studying there itself, it's such an enriching space. I don't remember a single day when I came back home on the college time. Like, there was so much to do.
Yeah, there's so much to do. Yeah,
Yeah. So
right.
Xavier's was quite something. Like it shaped me. It shaped my experience, but it also kind of brought me in front of the camera along with the theater, because Xavier's had English and Hindi theater thriving when I entered the college, but there was no sign of Marathi theater. And since I'm a Maharashtrian and I come from a Marathi theater upbringing, I thought that was such a miss. And then I digged up into it and I realized that about some 30 years ago, that department got shut and
Okay.
nobody revived. So then I brought a few friends, and then we decided together to revive Marathi
Oh,
Theatre Society in Xavier's. And we then started participating in these competitions. We started, like, every month doing some of the other activities. We started performing, where I really got to, for the first time, explore Vijay Tendulkar and his plays as an actor, because, before that, I was only watching. So Xavier's was a
right.
place where, after college, I would every single day go to NCPA library, take the 20 rupee entry, and just sit there and read Mohan
Wow.
Rakesh, read Vijay Tendulkar, read Girish Karnad, and that actually shaped up my hunger for theater in the right sense, because it was so accessible. And thanks to places like NCPA, where
Yeah.
students.
Public institutions where students like you can access the best.
Yeah, and they had the kind of collection that even Xavier's has such enriching library. Like, it's like really, really beautiful
Mm.
and huge. But I wanted to, like, specifically dig into the theater and
And
the.
did you read them in English or did you read them in Marathi?
I read them in like the languages they were in. Like, I read them in Marathi, I read them in Hindi. I read, if
Wow.
it's Dharmveer Bharti, it was Hindi. Mohan Rakesh, it was Hindi. It was Mahesh L.
Wow.
Kunchar, Vijay Tendulkar, it was Marathi. Girish Karnad, at times I read the translations in English, because, but then, Girish
Yeah.
Karnad is also translated in these respective
Yeah.
languages. So for me, I think, and my notes used to be in those particular languages, whatever that I understood, Hindi, English, and Marathi, right? So I understood theater in the sense of appreciate it along with the language of it. So till date, any script that I get, I have like books full of all these auditions that I give, but I always make sure that I write them in the languages. Like right now, the trend is every script we get in is in English. It's
In
in like,
English. Yeah.
so I always make sure I write them in the particular language there is in, because it helps me work on the entire character in a very detailed manner, understanding the language and the nuances of it. So I think that one aspect is missing in a way when it comes to workshops and the actor training
Yeah.
that we look at, because I was I was only introduced to these small little workshops because I was not allowed to like go to like acting schools. So for me, observation, reading, and analyzing and looking at the kind of critiques that are made on the art pieces was the only way to decipher and understand what this is going to be like and where my hunger is taking me. So every time I get a script, even till date, I write it in Hindi, and I make sure that I decipher the language well, so that I can then work on the emotions and so that I can get to the characters. So for me, text-based work
Wonderful.
is the only work that that starts and opens the door for me.
Excellent. And talking about Xavier's, I just realized Zoya is from Xavier's as well. So it's interesting that you got to work with Tiger Baby in Superboys, right?
Yeah, in fact, Zoya was also the reason of bringing me on screen, because
Ah,
my first ever short film, Amer, by Amira,
ah,
it was part of Shor Se Shurwaat, and they were
right,
bringing
right.
these directors who were supervising their DAs at that moment of time to make these short films. So Zoya was supervising Amira Bhargava, who made this short
Oh,
film called Amir. It was my first ever screen presence, like first ever
wow.
in a way. So Zoya was also like, Excel was a reason why I got like started.
So, what's the journey been like? Have you, since you graduated from Xavier's, have you done a lot of theater? Then how did movies happen?
just to come back to one really significant episode in Xavier's, I was a very, very shy child, like a very, very shy, introverted kid. And I never wanted to come in front of the camera. And because of my complexion, I had this whole teenage
What is
um,
wrong with your complexion?
nothing is wrong, really. But growing up, I always thought my dusky complexion is not good enough in a way. And Xavier's was really, really significant step and phase of my life to break out of that. I had a professor who was teaching us photography, and
No,
his name is David D'Souza. He's a fashion photographer, and he's a
right.
lovely guy. And he kind of broke a lot of grids of understanding arts for me. And he was really, really a significant person in my life to, like, really understand arts and myself in that context. So David came one day to me and he said, I find you extremely gorgeous. Would you like to, like, model for me? And I didn't understand what to say. And I don't know. And he, of course, saw that. And he said, okay, you can take your time. You can say no, absolutely fine. And I went back home. And for about a few months, I did not attend his classes because I felt he's making fun of me.
Right.
I was so underconfident. I thought by him saying I find you gorgeous, he's making fun of me. So one of the days in foyer, he met me and he said, "Wait, you're in my class. Why didn't I see you for so many months?" And I said, "I didn't like the way you made fun of me." He said, "I'm sorry. When did I make fun of you?" I said, "In front of the entire class, you said you find me gorgeous, and this is not cool to make fun of somebody's looks." And he said,
God.
"I really meant it." And this 60-year-old man trying to convince and be apologetic just, became so overwhelming. In that, in that whole feeling, I said, yes. I said, okay, okay, maybe you meant it. I don't know. Okay, I'll come. I'll do it. And David stayed with his really lovely wife, Charmaine, and the house was full of arts. And then, it was a studio also. So for me, it just opened up my worldview. And then that was the first photo shoot that I ever did, where he made me look like someone who I never thought can even translate on screen. And that shifted everything for me. I was a person, even in a group photo, would hide behind somebody because I
Right.
would feel, "Oh, don't look good enough." And now I was under the spotlight, actually, taken portraits of. And that shifted something so enormously significant in my own being. It kind of gave me a confidence to then go ahead and try for screen in a way. But that
Right.
was my first exposure to camera,
Wow.
of really pulling this girl from somebody's back and putting her under spotlight was something that David did.
How old were you?
So I was literally, I don't know, I
Must have
was
been
in college. I was,
20.
yeah, 20, hardly 20.
So then how did movies happen?
Well, I started working as a theater actor. I did a lot of theater in Marathi commercial theater. And I did like some 500 shows of this one play because Marathi theater is such a avid kind of a practice there.
Following. Yeah, yeah,
Once
yeah.
we perform for like almost 25 days. We are literally performing on 25 days every single day. And I was doing my master's in documentary filmmaking by then.
Where?
So, Mumbai University.
Okay.
So after
And
Xavier's, of course,
and
sorry.
does Marathi commercial theatre, does it pay well or is it sort of not so
When I started it, really, it was like, I remember like about 700 rupees a couple of
a
shows. We
day?
used to do shows, then it used to be 700 rupees. One show used to be 350 rupees.
Yeah, but I guess everyone begins like that.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. And the most
Mm.
important thing here was all the 500 shows, barring three, four shows. I was telling somebody yesterday, I was glued to the wings and I used to watch every single show other than my entry. And, we had some 16 actors and I was one of them. And, it was a big cast. So I didn't have much to do. So when I would be not on the stage, I would be glued to the wings, and I worked with one of the legendary actors in Marathi industry for comedy. There's this actress called Nirmiti Sawant, and Purushottam Bede, who's Lakshmikant Bede's brother, he was the director. So even if it was like a commercial theater, that time I did not understand any of it, right? But I looked at it in a way where, I could get to learn so many things.
Right. So then, how did movies happen?
Uh, my father passed away,
Oh,
and I suddenly had this realization of now I need to earn. Now I need
yeah.
really be on my feet. And we had this entire argument of whether I should pursue it or not. And I always wanted to prove it to him that, look, I told you I will make it, you know, and that never happened when he was alive. So,
Sorry to hear that.
I mean, even if like Superboys, at the screening, I was wearing a dress which I customized for myself because I love doing that. So I customized it, and while doing that, I wanted to keep his memory because I know Superboys of Malegaon is a film which he would have been so proud of.
I'm sure he would have loved it, no?
He would have loved it. He believed in the power of cinema and theater so much. He would have absolutely been the proudest man alive if he were to see his daughter being a part of a project like that. So, we have his watch, which he wore for like over 40 years, you
Wow.
know. So I had that watch actually stitched to my dress,
Oh,
because I wanted to have him with me in the first Mumbai screening, really.
wonderful. How lovely. How has Superboys changed your life, Manjari?
It has kind of reinforced, and it kind of, reassured that love and passion for films and doing what we do, and give it, like, underline the reason again, because in like a larger journey, in that way you look at things and you contemplate, and you really, at times you do ask yourself the questions that, do you really want to, is it worth it?
Is
And
it
those
worth it?
questions
Yeah,
come your way,
yeah.
because there's so much that goes into it. And one reason why my parents didn't want me to pick this up as a career, because both of them knew how dependent this entire profession of actor is.
Is
And
on
he
other
knew that,
people.
yeah, and your life decisions are dependent on so many other people.
Yeah,
And he knew that somewhere the kind of person that I am, the kind of तासीर बोलते हैं ना किसी इंसान की. So
yeah,
they knew that I'm such an independent person. Probably that wouldn't fit too well for me. And that was yet another thing. So every now and then you do ask this question: is it worth it?
yeah.
And you are capable of so much more. And for example, I'm like, I've learned documentary filmmaking because that's yet another passion in my life. So I keep on contemplating whether I should, really, rather put my mind and energy and efforts in something like that, or I should focus myself here. But Superboys of Malegaon is a film which kind of reassures you that it's worth the wait, and it's worth the
Absolutely.
efforts. And there's nothing, I mean, Superboys of Malegaon also taught me to keep the soul in place, to keep the, because a lot of times as actors we are selling emotions, we are selling
Yeah,
conviction, and we are selling authenticity, or seemingly authentic world to people. And then at times you question your own authenticity and your own honesty. And
right.
Super Malegaon somewhere, because you have seen the film, I can say
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
that it kind of underlines and reassures that fact that the soul can be intact, and it can still go through all these emotions and bring those emotions to your artwork, which makes it meaningful. What happens to the film,
Absolutely.
when the Superman is made, for Shafi, it's actually that, that your soul never changes and that passion never changes. So I think Superboys did that for me. in a way. Like after that,
Great.
there'll be many projects that will come and go, but this one project is a cult classic in very, very personal way to me.
Right. We're just running out of time, Manjari. So, just one last question. It's been
Yes.
a huge pleasure talking to you and very educative, I must say. But
Same
one
to you.
last question. So, what now, Manjari? What do you have lined up for us now?
I am really looking forward to the release of my next film, Dhadak 2.
Okay,
And
wow.
yeah, yeah. It's
Nice.
again like a film on caste system and caste
Yeah, yeah.
oppression. I am really looking forward to that. And I'm opening up my solo performance piece for the first time. It's based on
Okay.
my father and my relationship. And
Oh,
it is called Manjiri Matching Centre.
nice. This is Marathi in Marathi?
No, this is going to be in Hinglish, so Hindi and English,
Right.
but it's about why I'm named what I'm named by my father. And
Okay.
by that theme, it explores my relationship with him.
You've written it?
I have written it, I'm directing it, and I am
Okay.
going to perform it. So it's a
When
solo.
and where, Manjari?
It's going to be performed in these spaces like Rangshila and Andheri has these
Ah,
intimate spaces. So it's
right.
going to be performed in those spaces.
Wonderful. I really look forward to that. I don't live in Bombay, but do get it to Delhi when you
I
can.
am
We'd love
planning
to
to
watch it.
travel with the play. I'm certainly
Okay.
trying to travel with the
Do
play.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
hopefully
Thank
soon.
you so much, Manjari. It was a
Thank
real pleasure
you.
and all the very best.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you. Very,
Thank you.
very
Thank you.
introspective conversation.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.